Why does a man feel like he has to sleep with a lot of women to feel like a man?
It's promoted. I mean, I remember when I lost my virginity, I was with my cousin. We were driving to the store. He says, hey, I'm going to stop by my girlfriend's house. And I believe I was, 16 at the time. We go in the house and she has a little sister who was very cute. So he goes in the room and he's having sex. And me and her little sister are talking. When they come out, we get in the car. My cousin's driving. He says, hey, did you have sex with her? I'm like, no. He says, did you kiss her? I'm like, no, I just met her. He was like, you a virgin? I'm like, I haven't had sex before. When we pull up into his house where all my uncles were, my cousins and my mother, he yelled out, hey, Jason's a virgin. The entire house erupted in laughter. So when I looked around at my mother, she was laughing. It made me angry because here it is. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought this was the way. I didn't know I had to just have sex with a woman that I don't care about for me to be validated as a man. But that's the culture. That's like the initiation into manhood. As soon as I got back to Detroit, I called a friend who knew a girl who liked me, and I went over the house because I knew I could have sex with her real quick and I can get this stigma up off of me. I didn't even care about her. I had no emotions. I did it because this was what I was taught as a man. You're not a man if you're faithful to one woman, and you're not a man if you're a virgin. So that day I lost my virginity, my mindset shifted. All you can be is strong, provide, or be promiscuous. And this is your identity. We hide behind the suits, the cigars, the cars, the jewelry, the watches. Inside that home, there's a man depressed, on the edge, and possibly suicidal.
What's going on? What's going on, people? This is Pilgrims in the Earth, man. Blessed to see another day. You know, like first and foremost, like always, all praises be to the Most High. Second off, man, I appreciate everybody who supporting the videos. You know, we up to 2,510 subscribers. You know, that's an accomplishment for me. If that many people watching, I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed to do the Most High's work. This is not for me. I really don't hope to make money off this channel. It's because, you know, to make money, you have to fit in certain guidelines of of kind of putting a cap on things. Like you can't say what you want to say. So I specifically use this channel to get truth out there, you know, according to the Bible as being the foundation of my beliefs, of course. But I just don't stay there. I like to, you know, you just go off the top, sometimes freestyling, sometimes putting my own personal life out there as an example, you know, or a testimony for somebody else that's going through the same, or inspiring somebody. But yeah, I did a video a while back, almost 7 months ago, right? It was called Insatiable Lust, Sex Culture. So this is more in the same guidelines of that, right? So we just watched this video of the guy talking about, you know, the culture and how it was kind of, they laughed at him for being a virgin at that time, right? And that resonated so much with me because I witnessed the same thing. I mean, the pressure, excuse my voice. I remember the pressure of being young and not, you know, not having sex yet or doing certain sexual things. And the people around me, you know, I'm talking about from cousins, friends, the neighborhood, school, people basically like looking at you like you a lame because you didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? And I was extra young, man. We talking about 11, 12, you know, but I had been hearing these things since I was, since elementary school. That's crazy, right? But I think once when I got in like middle school, that's when it kind of was like, okay, I need to see what's going on here. Like, you know, cause you know, they make it seem like you're not a man. You know, you a lame. This is, you know, and I was so curious. I'm talking about the curiosity of it. That's all you heard, you know, young boys talking about. I remember vividly also, the locker room, children having sex in the school. You know what I'm saying? It was, you know, that's why I push uh, two parent homes because it's so important. A lot of sisters think that, they don't need a man or they can do it by themselves. In this society, in this climate, you don't want to do that because a man can be your security, your protection, especially if you have daughters. You know, if if the economy is so expensive right now, right, and you have to go to work 8 to 10 hours out the day or 5 to 6 days out the week, who's over your children? Who's over your children? You can say, "Oh, well, my cousin got them, or my sister got them." Okay, would they protect your children like you would? You get what I'm saying? So many people have experienced sexual sexual things when they were very young before their mind can even like conceptualize it or even perceive what was going on. So a lot of these women, that's why I tell you in the Bible, a woman's or a girl's virginity was supposed to be protected by her father. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of these young girls is losing their virginity at a young age, and they're just going out into the world. You get what I'm saying? And things is bad, man. That's why you have they don't end up finding a husband because now they're destroyed at a young age. You get what I'm saying? So they weren't protected. And young men, let's say, you know, 11, 12, the pressure of go have sex, then you turn on the TV, sex, 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 you turn on the music, sex, sex, sex. You get what I'm saying? So I remember very clearly, like, and this is for, and I'm not trying to justify, the whoredom culture, not by any means, but it had to get there from something. And I would say, when I was young, I used to want to be like a good guy, right? You know, watching my mom being a single mother at the time, you see, I think all guys can relate to some degree to this right now, right? So guys just don't start off being dogs, right? Or just start off just using women for sex because that was me for a long time, right? I was doing that. I was just, I'm not about to invest no feelings into no women. I'm gonna just go out and do me. So when guys had to get to that point from something, so very young, we learn that being the good guy, it doesn't work. Being the good guy, it doesn't work because let's say you invest into a girl, she's your girlfriend, and don't let her be more experienced than you. You start to see certain things because men or even boys, we're very territorial. You know what I'm saying? So that's my girl, that's my girlfriend. We would say that, right? And then you see her go run off, you see her go run off in the sandbox with another guy. You know what I'm saying? You learn very early that she's not yours. That's why I strongly support arranged marriages. If I have young boys, you have young girls, let's raise them, not in the same household, but let's raise them in the same environment together and court them into marriage, without tainting them. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I support that 1,000%. Yeah, I support that 1,000%. And it's a reason why I do, because look at our culture now, right? The access of pornography, the access of sex. You know, as soon as your children leave your home, they're going off to school. You can't control what other children have experienced in their lives. You get what I'm saying? Your children is going, seeing other children, and you can teach them so much. You can plant that seed. I hope that it works. Because my children, yeah, they go play, but I do have them in a controlled environment. I'm very overprotective over my children because I know for a fact what was going on when I was young, right? And my parents did the best that they could. My mother did the best that she could. Of course, I lost my father when I was young, and they were separated at the time. But my mother had to work. She had to work 2, 3 jobs at a time. So I had access to. I was out. You know what I'm saying? So and that's not to brag on that, but yeah, young boys learn early by the culture. Number one, get you some sex. I mean, sex was like a video game. You know, you beat the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally how men look at it. So imagine being exposed to that early and growing up. You know, a lot of these grown men are like young boys. You know, it's an insatiable lust. You know, that's how, it starts off with sex, and now you see the culture doing more crazier things. You talking about bisexual, by being bisexual, threesomes. You talking about all type of crazy stuff now in our culture, things that we never heard of. You get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get too explicit, but yeah, man, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But where did all this come from? It came from the breakup of the family structure. You know, no protection over the children. Yeah, so man, that's crazy. Yeah, listening to the video, I was like, wow, that's exactly how it is. You get what I'm saying? Um, as a young boy trying to do the right thing, you might have even been taught by your parents, hey, don't have sex, sex is bad, drugs is bad, whatever the case may be. But then when you go out into the world, this is all you see, and we was hiding, we was going to take little tapes or the Jet magazine to kind of, see those things that we weren't supposed to be seeing. But now these kids, they have cell phones. You get what I'm saying? They have cell phones. They have access to all of that. You get what I'm saying? So it's wild. Um, I would say that I was addicted to that feeling. You know, once you get that climax and all that, or ejaculation or whatever. I'm being grown about this conversation, so don't get offended. But once you get that, it's like your first high. You get what I'm saying? It's like a shot of heroin. You know what I'm saying? So the way we were introduced to sex, it wasn't like we didn't know the education behind it or the science behind it or the spirituality behind it, knowing that, when a man and a woman comes together, that was supposed to be your wife. You get what I'm saying? And even with a woman or a young girl, that's so much more, because a man just has entered her or taken her flower. And he just goes on and walk off in life like it was nothing. And she just goes to the next man and the next man and the next man. So when she eventually knows better and she gets older, and now she wants to, take her body more serious and potentially find a husband, now you have the clash of, her heart is, or her mind is still somewhere else. There's science behind that. The sperm of a man stays in that woman's body. You get what I'm saying? For a time. So, it wasn't meant for women to be hopping around, or it wasn't meant for men to be laying with thousands of women or hundreds of women. These are women that's supposed to be uh, set aside for a husband. You get what I'm saying? So you have to attack the root issue, which is the family structure, the mother, the father, the mother as the nurturer, being a virtuous example, teaching the daughter, hey, you're not supposed to do this, you save this for your husband. And a man being an example of that, hey, this is how a man's supposed to treat you, treating the mother like that, and also treating his daughter like that. So if you don't have that, it's almost impossible to raise your children in a righteous environment or a righteous example of what a family is supposed to be. That's why you see the dysfunction. You get what I'm saying? First, you have the attack of the family. Once you have the attack of the family, you have the attack, you see that display out in the community. Once the community falls, the whole nation or the whole country falls. But specifically, black culture, this is what we're taught: sex, Glorilla, shake that ass. What's the other one? Cardi B, WAP. You know what I'm saying? Megan Thee Stallion. Can't you see that all the mainstream artists or women rappers, it used to be the men promoting this, right? The loops back in the day, but now all you see is women. You get what I'm saying? So now they know they have us where the Satan know he got us where he want us to be. He have the children. You have the children dancing and singing to this stuff. So, you know, our children is at a man, our children is at a major disadvantage. You know, first off, you don't want your children going out to the world experiencing this at a young age. Second off, you don't want them compromising their soul, man, because our souls is on the line here, right? Because if we're living in a world that's promoting these things, where are we bound to go when we die? You know what I'm saying? Of course, if we don't know any better, that's something different, but it's not looking too good, man. And if you love your children, you will make the best environment possible for them to grow up in. You know, if you raise them right, and whatever you teach them, whatever seeds you plant in them, they shouldn't depart from that, right? So if you're not around and you're always getting money, 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 because that seems like that's the religion of everything now. Money is his own religion now. If you're constantly getting money and that's all you know, what does that leave your children? How many women have been molested, by their uncles or cousins hold on, or even guys just in the neighborhood, right? Because they weren't protected. Or how many young boys went through the same thing, right? So these young boys, they get that feeling, or these young girls, they get that feeling, that first high, you know what I'm saying? And now they going out into the world and it can never be enough. Our grandmothers wasn't talking about, oh, he got a little one, or men talking about, oh, she got some good, what I'm saying? Like, it was probably talked about, but it wasn't displayed like it is now. Of course, you got social media and things like that, but I think sex has just like it's like no shame no more. I'm talking about, I'll be on Facebook, I'm seeing women share basically porn. They're sharing the porn. I'm thinking that they probably got hacked or something, but they're actually sharing porn. I even had to say something to a girl. I was like, why? One minute you're complaining about not finding good dudes, the next minute you're displaying porn on your or sharing porn on your page. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. This is my page. We grown. I'm like, okay, but you have children though, So this is where our culture has come to. But from when I was born, it was already gone. You get what I'm saying? But at least you had some type of standard. If you was just out here just slanging D on all the women, people would know. Somebody would pull you to the side, or say something. Or if you was a woman that was just throwing it back on everybody, you would be considered, a whore. You would be considered fast. You would be considered a heifer. You know what I'm saying? So we and there's no going back. And I'm not gonna get all into the leave Babylon and all that, but it's Sodom and Gomorrah behavior. You get what I'm saying? So it can only get worse from here. It would only go downhill from here. It's not gonna get better. So of course, I understood that it was no getting better. So I had to take my children out that environment. You get what I'm saying? You have to completely remove your children from that environment and create your own system, or go to a system where whatever, you practice, your neighbor practices. You know what I'm saying? I cannot be trying to raise my children to be virgins, until they find the right one. But my neighbor children is throwing it back like it's juvenile in 1999. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's just a little something, man. Real quick video to put on y'all mind, man. Once again, y'all like, share, and subscribe. This is Pilgrims in the Earth. Peace. Y'all be blessed. We out.